Welcome to another edition of Coaching Minute with Brianne Ligori and friends, where certified coaches help leaders to elevate their coaching skills so they're better able to lead in today's modern workforce. Today's guest is Anita Stanga. Anita is an ICF-credentialed coach and has over 20 years of experience in the healthcare space. Anita's mission is to elevate people to lead with intention and clarity over autopilot. Her work is centered around the idea of supporting people to choose consciously. Anita also sits as the Regional Director of Programs at the Healthcare Businesswomen Association. Welcome, Anita. I'm so happy to have you here with us.
Thank you, Brianne. It's great to see you, and I'm glad I'm here with you.
Yes, our paths first crossed a few years ago when you popped into our coach certification and became an ICF credentialed coach. So it's so cool to see all of the amazing work that you're doing with your coaching.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been quite a journey, and I've really enjoyed how I've grown as a person and just being able to support others in their journey as they decide where they want to go and what they want to design with their own life.
Yes, absolutely. And you've had a chance to, be on both sides, right? You've had a chance to be coached over many years in the healthcare space and also helping people with your coaching. So I'm really, really curious to hear a little bit more about what coaching means to you and why now is coaching more important than ever.
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think you touched on it in my bio. It's really about enabling people to get out of autopilot and back into choice. And right now, life is moving so fast. There's huge expectations and demands from work, and a lot of people are just, reacting to what's going on, answering emails, showing up at meetings, rushing from place to place. And, there are times when you're in that do mode, you kind of drift away, and drift away from who you really are. And there's an opportunity to really pause and say, is this actually how I want to lead or live my life? And so coaching becomes really important because it gives and creates space for people to pause and really give them space to think about, how are they showing up? How do they want to show up? And give them that opportunity to explore ideas, patterns of behavior, and decide, what are the next steps? And how do I do that with intention so that my energy is flowing with the things that I'm saying and that I'm doing and that I'm thinking, so that it's all aligned.
Wow. That is very, very wise and powerful. The autopilot thing, it comes up a lot. I don't know about you, but I see it everywhere, almost with every single person that I work with. I work with many, many leaders across the globe, and it's a really common thing that we're all in this do mode, as you said. What are you kind of seeing there?
I'm seeing it because I work with a lot of emerging leaders. So that next generation of leaders who will be stepping into or are excited about the opportunity to grow and be the next director or CEO. And people are so busy doing that they feel a little lost. And it's almost as if the doing is over here and who they are is kind of back here. And to me, if we're looking at how we want to sustain the future and we want to create systems that are going to align to the needs of the people, we need to bring our intentions and what we do and who we are, bring it forward together so that people understand and have a clear vision of, yes, I can relate to that. And this is what I want to be. And this is where I want to go. This is what I want to do. And this is what I want to become, because I know it's for the greater good of where we want the world to go.
I love that, right? It's like the doing energy and the being energy. Often we don't give time to that being. Like, who are we as a human being? What do we want? What do we want to be known for? And when we spend time here, the doing actually gets better. We get better at what we do by knowing this stuff. But it's so rare that we actually take the time and say, hey, I've got 10 minutes. Let's just spend a bit of time of reflection. Or even like the leaders that often come to some of the corporate workshops, they're going, oh man, like I got so much on my to-do. I don't have time for this. Right? But when people dig in, you start to see the light bulb go off.
Well, it's hard to do because you have to take a look at yourself. You know, we talk about journaling and self-reflection, but through coaching, it allows you to bring that self-reflection into the light, and you get to speak it out loud so that you can actually hear yourself, because the world is so noisy right now that we don't always get a chance to hear ourselves. What is our gut telling us? How does this align to my values? What are my strengths? How come I'm not leaning into those strengths? And what do I want to do or be in that moment when I'm asked to show up as a leader?
Yes. That's powerful stuff when people take the time. A lot really shifts when they, as you said, put that intentionality behind it.
Yeah. And it doesn't come automatic, right? Like, because again, life is so busy. There's a lot of change happening. Change is constant in a lot of industries. And so we're just trying to keep up, and we're being told what to do, and we just follow what we're told what to do, instead of saying, like I said earlier, is reflecting back and say, how do I want to show up? And recognize that no matter what is in front of you, how do you want to choose with intention?
Yeah.
And that takes a bit of thought, similar to putting a strategic plan together. I think we need to realize that we can design our own life, and that just doesn't happen by getting up in the morning and going to work. There's so many more layers to who you are and what you bring to, your work and to your family and to your friends and life in general, that you actually have a choice to design what that looks like.
Yeah. Like if we think about some of the leaders in the world that we admire, and we're like, wow, they really have something. And sometimes you can't put your finger on it, but I guarantee that those people designed that intentionally. It didn't happen by accident that they really have this sort of leadership gravitas. They're probably consciously thinking about it on a regular basis.
Yeah, and we spend a lot of time, speaking to people who have made it, right? We see the end goal. And I think coaching, what it helps people to realize, it's that it's the journey towards the goal or the design that you're looking towards, and learn about yourself and how you are being in those tiny moments as you work towards that goal that you envision for yourself, right? And so then there becomes, it can be a crazy journey along the way, but there's clarity because you're grounded and you're aware of what you're doing in each of those moments as you work towards that goal that you have, or that passion, or that knowing of, I need to be over here one day.
I love it. It helps people to really lead with their authentic self, which is ultimately many people's goal.
Yeah.
So you mentioned change. Things are changing at a rapid speed in organizations. We're seeing it across industry, across the world. So how do you use coaching to help people through change?
Yeah, we were saying change is very quick. It's rapid right now with AI. We can come up with all kinds of things that change. And we ourselves change. I think we have to realize too that within change, we're changing as well. And so coaching, what I've seen, the power of coaching is by asking questions to create or evoke a clear awareness for a person to recognize or gain insights in terms of how do they want to be or show up within the change versus allowing the change to rule who they are. And so through, intentionally creating space and presence and curiosity as a coach, we allow people to slow down.
Yeah.
Right? Slow down. When we pause after a question, it's in that quiet space that give people a chance to think and to see what's possible. And it allows us to stop the autopilot and recognize that what we're currently doing doesn't have to be how we have to show up every time. That there's an opportunity to intentionally change how we show up, not who we are, but align with who we are in those moments of constant change.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like they're stepping into the driver's seat rather than like being a victim of the circumstance of like, oh, this change is happening to me. It's looking at it, maybe this is happening for me and there's a chance for me to evolve and grow and decide how I want to kind of lean into this.
Yeah, and it's reframing it as a coach to look at, rather than fearing the change or, resisting the change, it's reframing it and looking at what's possible. What's possible,
Mm-hmm.
What's within my control, what's not within my control. And again, I use the word a lot, but how do you then show up with what's possible? And so it breaks that pattern of the changes happening to me when really it's not about you. There's change. You get to decide intentionally what to do within the change, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like change is just a thing, right? And so as humans, it's about the who and the what and how we proceed, right?
And a lot of times it triggers past experience, right? So it allows you then to process and say, okay, this change is happening. How do I react to it? What am I feeling? People don't like talking about feelings, but we are human beings and feelings show up even if we try and push them down. They're there. And so how do we address those feelings? How do we decide what we want to do? And then how do we move forward, recognizing that, we don't control the change, just ourselves.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We're the only thing that we can control is ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're a work in progress.
Always, all of us.
But it's true because, with each experience, instead of letting the experience define you, it's taking the opportunity to say, what am I becoming as a result of the experience that I am part of? And that's where the growth happens, right? You get to choose, how do you bring this experience forward to continue to develop as a person, but also have impact with others and the world around you.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So you mentioned asking questions. So obviously we know that that's sort of the core root of coaching. Sometimes what we find in some of the leadership development work that we do is that leaders are a little bit fearful to lean into just questions because they feel like they're not maybe adding value, because really, frankly, we're conditioned to give advice, right? That's how we've kind of been raised in the corporate world. And it's really hard to step away from that because we really see a connection there to our value. So what would you say to a leader that is really struggling to sort of trust the process of coaching and just really be in the space of questions and listening?
Yeah, it's a great question because trusting the process is probably one of the hardest parts of coaching, like you said. And I'm going to repeat it. We're hardwired, right? Like as parents or as partners or as colleagues, We really want to give advice because, well, we've been there, right? We can relate. We're humans who can relate to someone else's situation, and we want to fix it for them. But as a coach, I think we really have to lean into giving ourselves the patience, the time, and practice about creating the conditions where you want someone to have their own insights to what's happening. And so, by letting go, I think that's a good word to use, like letting go and trusting the process, like clean language, keeping the questions simple. It doesn't have to be complicated, but creating a space for someone to slow down. I think we said that earlier. To breathe, to think about, what is possible, because by being curious about the person, it allows a bit of a catalyst, because the person is being seen, they're being heard, and they recognize that they have value. The answer is, and we say it all the time, the answer is within them. But as a leader, can we give them that space to find the answers themselves?
Yeah, I think that's the ultimate psychological safety right there, is just giving that space for them to be heard and showing them that you believe in them, rather than like showing up with the advice or the solution, which actually can feel quite judgmental and make someone feel like their ideas aren't good enough, and that maybe we're up here and they're down here.
Yeah. And as a coach, I think we need to also be kind to ourselves and recognize that, we're not going to be perfect, but it's through the trusting of the process and asking the questions is where you'll learn what works, what doesn't work, what lands, what doesn't land, and be able to be flexible with it and recognize that, honor the person.
Yeah.
Right? What you're trying to do is evoke that awareness within the person, because, even when we look at, performance evaluations, if you ask, you don't need to tell someone what they got to work on. I think people know instinctively. And I believe that, there is a desire to become, I don't want to use the word better, but to learn and to grow. And so, if you were to ask someone what they would like to focus on, you'd be surprised what they would tell you. They probably would give you the answer, and then you can work side by side with them to see what's possible and what that could look like.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really interesting that when we talk to leaders, they often say, well, what if they give me the wrong answer? And I think it's just such a reminder that there is no wrong answer. Every single answer is an opportunity to learn, even if it's something that doesn't land and doesn't work. That's okay, because the person, as you said, is going to learn from that. And maybe their next choice will be different.
Well, and I also think too that we, when we provide that space for them to explore, sometimes the first thing that comes out of their mouth is not really what is the issue or what is the thing they want to work on, let's say. And so, by allowing for that pause, like we talked about, and being present and being curious, and maybe just asking a question about, tell me more about that.
Yeah.
It all of a sudden gets, again, someone to start thinking, yeah, what do I mean by that? I'm hearing myself now. My thoughts are coming out loud. Now I get to explain what I really mean. And are we capable of asking for what we want? Or moving towards what our passion or our dreams or our goals are? A lot of times we don't share some of this.
we're not often asked, I think, right? In organizations, we feel like we just come in and follow the organizational mission, vision, values. But what about our own values and how do they connect to the bigger picture of the organization?
Yeah, and I think the power is in the people, in the sense that when we enable people to see what they can do or who they can be within a larger organization, it's very powerful to see. They'll want to show up as their best self. They want to contribute because there's alignment with I'm seen, I'm heard, I'm valued for what I can bring, and I'm being enabled to make that happen.
Yeah.
I'm part of it. I'm part of it.
That's the ultimate way to build trust, right? It's just sitting there side by side and just having these conversations.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how about you? I mean, as coaches, like we're all on a learning journey. We're all continuing to grow and to develop, and we're often learning through the people that we're coaching and leading as well. So I'm curious, what has been your biggest learning as a coach?
Wow. It has definitely evoked awareness in myself, as well as how do I show up and who I am. But I think the biggest learning as a coach, being a coach, is creating the space for people. And it's not about what I'm doing in the moment. It's who I'm being. So the rest of the world for me doesn't exist when I'm in a coaching session.
Yes.
Because I could be dealing with all kinds of problems and issues myself. But when I commit to a coaching session, it's about being present, about being curious, and about being willing to walk side by side with that person or with someone to allow them to see what's possible.
I love that, Anita, because I think it's not about performing as a coach or as a leader and asking the perfect question and all these things. It's like you said, just being present. That is such a huge gift to someone in a world that doesn't happen very often.
And it's really allowed me to grow as well, because it's forced me to, even within other things that I do, whether it's at home with my kids or with friends, right? How do I stay curious? How do I be present? The stuff around you doesn't define you. It's are you aligned? Are you aligned in that moment? And are you there because you want to be? Right? Again, making those intentional choices of how I spend my time, who I spend my time with, and really reflecting on why I'm there.
Yeah, that whole thing that you mentioned about consciously choosing, right? I think is the thread through our entire conversation today.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Anita, for sharing your wisdom. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you.
It is always a pleasure to connect with you, Brianne, and I really appreciate you. Thank you for the opportunity.
You too, Anita. Thank you.
Sure.